From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins. The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It's live, presented by Vitamin Energy. Thanks for being here. Coming up on today's show, I don't know, whatever you folks want to talk about on the YouTube world. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take questions for the next hour or so, as long as you promise to go to vitaminenergy.com. Tell a friend about it. Let them know about the promo code warchantbogo, Warchant B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. That's all you got to do. You just type that in. Not only will you get one of these, you know what happens?
Oh, look at you.
Get another one, man. You get two. Buy one, get one free. Buy five, get five free. Take advantage. Clinically tested, clinically proven to enhance immune response, to enhance your workouts, to burn fat. This one's also immune response, but it tastes so good. The blue raspberry. I love it. So I'm going to smell it real quick.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, yeah, you just like the smell.
Raspberry.
Yeah.
Love blue raspberry. Love you folks for being here. If you could just hit the thumbs up, just like it. Not asking you to love us back. Just like it. Hit the thumbs up. That would be so cool and appreciated. And subscribe to warchant.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use the promo code FSU1. 2 months, $1. That's how it works, everybody. Corey Clark, Bruce Willis's younger stunt double.
Yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? How was practice, man? I didn't get to see it. It sounds like Norvell didn't enjoy himself that much at practice on Wednesday.
Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't.
He didn't start off, said good work day?
He did not. But he says something about like good response, good energy. I meant to tell you, we're going to start off with this. Let me give you a multiple choice quiz right here, Corey.
Okay.
Which of the following bands' songs were not played at practice on Wednesday?
Okay.
Nickelback, Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, Twisted Sister.
I'm going to say, I hope it's Nickelback, but I feel like you wouldn't have led with them if it was Nickelback. So I'm going to say Def Leppard. Pour Some Sugar on Me. They didn't play that, did they?
That's what they played. Yeah.
They played Pour Some Sugar on Me?
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Yeah, okay. All right.
Mike doesn't want these guys to have fun anymore. I love it.
I'm all about it. I am all about it.
I love it. Yeah, they didn't play Twisted Sister. They played Nickelback. I don't remember what song it was, but it was
Twisted
Nickelback.
Sister is the one that has the song that you'd want them to play. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take. Why wouldn't they play that one?
I don't know.
That's the song that needs to be the anthem.
Yeah, they played Beastie Boys. Oh, I meant to really throw it. I did off the dome. I was going to write it down. They played Journey.
Okay.
Someday love gonna find. What's the name of that song?
Separate Ways, I think.
Separate Ways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. White Boy Wednesday, right? Isn't that what they used to call it back in the day?
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. But hey, Tuesday
was White Boy Tuesday as well. Yeah.
So.
All right. I like to switch it up, man. Try something different. Clearly, the normal music you've been playing hasn't been working.
Yeah.
Do any of the players get into it at all? Are they bopping their head to Nickelback or Journey?
No, bro. They're dialed in, man. Special teams.
All right. Fair.
You guys don't know, but like, I guess they do different kind of kickoffs. Like maybe one's more focused on physicality, or there's like a speed.
Right.
And then one of the assistant coaches yells, "Speed!"
Every time they kick it off. Yeah.
And
I think they're always yelling it. Yeah.
I'm going to miss his voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to miss his voice. Hey, look at this off the rip. Let's go. It's our guy in Kentucky, Dave Bardstown. Make some noise, everybody.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Dave says, Aslan, I'm not down with the Mount Fuji. I'm living that Clover Woods life. Mando has changed. He really meant it. Me being insecure about my lack of deodorant usage coming out of the pandemic. Dave's like, I'll try the Mando. All right, so he's not a Mount Fuji guy. He's a Clover Woods life guy. That makes sense. He was he's a guy that linked up with our guy Dan Squatch in the comments section. We brought them together. They went on a camping trip. Brought the boys along. Yeah,
that's cool.
So it's what we do. It's what we do here. Speaking of music, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Totally Nole, 9399, I think. 9983 said, nice whistling, Aslan. Kudos, brother. That made my day. Corey did not appreciate me whistling the opening of.
I did. Yeah. But I was saying something, and then I was like, oh, he wants to talk about the winds of change, which was funny, but then it got me on a train of thought. You know how I am with those. Did you say his name was 9983?
Let me double check. 9983, yeah.
That's an interesting, because they went 6-5 in 83. I mean, 99, we all know they won the national championship. We all know a lot of people, they might have passcodes that are 93, 99. They might have debit numbers that are 93, 99. You don't see a lot of 99, 83s with Florida State fans.
Granted, he's a YouTuber, and YouTube did something weird where, like, you can see Dave, how it says Dave and Bardstown, then it's parenthetically has something else. YouTube did something like a year ago to where it no longer would use your name. Like, it gave you this weird handle with like an alphanumeric code after it. So maybe 9993 is just something that was attached to Totally Nole.
Or he's a big Greg Allen fan.
Or that.
Could be that. There's a good offense that year.
Yeah. So that was cool. What was not cool was a beloved pillar says, I can't listen to Aslan anymore. Sorry. I guess I'll have to put Wake Up into the same category as another Warchant property. I don't want to put them on blast. I'm going to put them in the same category as that one now and just not listen for the remainder of the season. Great job chasing away one of your most loyal and dedicated supporters and listeners. Now,
good job, Aslan.
YouTube has AI responses, and my two options would be to respond with appreciate your feedback or it's a shame, but it is what it is. I will do neither.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair.
Yeah. I don't know who can look you in the eye right now and tell you that Mike Norvell is certainly going to make this rebuild happen. I think it's improbable. I don't think it's impossible, but that might upset you right now because you want, reasons to feel good. And I particularly wasn't in a very good feeling mood that day. So
it's a weird fine line. I was thinking about this because Jeff, for the people that don't know, will be on the post-game call-in show. After he's taking Gene's place this week, and this week only, but he's taking Gene's place, and he's going to take calls. And if they lose, I can't imagine what Jeff's tone and temperament will be. And it's like, part of me is like, yeah, man, you got to say that we're in the business, whether you like it or not, of giving our opinions. And I don't think either one of us give opinions we don't believe in. We don't play radio. We're here. Ostensibly we're here to tell you what we see and what we feel, and you're supposed to like it. Like that we give you our true, honest opinions, not like what we say all the time. But at the same time, it's like, we do have a business that really wants Florida State to be good and wants people to be interested in Florida State. And maybe we don't have to be so over the top like it's never going to change. It can't change. You know what I mean? Like, I do think there's a fine line between, like, being truthful, which you are, and then your truth anyway, and then just saying it's hopeless. And that's more towards Jeff, not you. But I can't even imagine what Jeff's going to be like if they lose, even if they win on Saturday. But if they lose, because it's like there is something to, like, yeah, man, we get it. They're awful, and it's rich coming from me because I've been ripping the offense for about 100 days. And it feels like 100 years. But yeah, it's like, okay, but I do literally, and it's not false hope. It might end up being incorrect. I do see an avenue and a path where you can get back to respectability and even better very, very quickly.
Real quick, Brady on Twitter says, not Brady Clark.
Could be. Well, he's a
Will you be watching the first college football playoff ranking show or the election next Tuesday?
I'm probably going to be at trivia. I'm going to be at trivia at Corner Pocket, so probably neither. And is there any point to tune into the election from 7 to 10?
Right.
Like, none of those numbers. Clearly, y'all all remember 2020, right? Nothing that we saw at 10:30 p.m. on election night ended up mattering at all. They were still highlighting Maricopa County 4 days later. Now, hey, hold on here. Now, Maricopa County, pay attention here. Yeah, dude, we know where Maricopa County is. We get it. So, yeah, I don't even know why it's not like it doesn't feel like anything's going to be decided on Tuesday night. It certainly wouldn't be decided by like 8 p.m.
But we know the real rigging is going to be that college football playoff ranking show, right? Am I right?
Amen. Amen.
Alex says, we know coaching changes are imminent, but do you think Norvell changes his approach at all in any facet? I did ask him because somebody, and I didn't really want to ask it, but I had nothing to ask. And somebody on the message boards was tagged me in a thread and was like, Aslan, ask him this. Can't guarantee I'll always do that. But if you remember warchant.com, that's one of the perks. You can push me around sometimes. Because when you think about it, Corey, I think every quote unquote full-time assistant on offense is on the field. Atkins is on the field. Tokar's on during games is on the sideline. Tokar's on the sideline. Atkins on the sideline. Thompson, Dugans, Yak, obviously Norvell. He's the head football coach. And somebody was like, well, maybe they should shake that up. And I'm like, listen, Mike, I get it. You're doing exactly what you did last year when you win 13 games. But is there anything about, having everybody on the field, like communication wise or, eyes in the sky? And he processed it for a few seconds. And then, it was like, yeah, I get that, things aren't good. Everything's under evaluation. He's like, but I think we do a fine job of our process. And he mentioned that the iPad also might make it a little bit more, onus on being on the field because you have that instant feedback and those sort of screens. So take that for maybe him not, digging his heels on something. Again, I don't think he's going to give up play calling, but get him a good offensive line and a good wide receiver and a good quarterback. And I don't think any of us are going to be complaining about who's calling plays, but that's just me.
Was it Dillingham in the box?
I feel
like Dillingham was in the box in 20 and 21 when he was here. I could be wrong, but I feel like he was. But then Dillingham was calling plays, right?
Yes.
Or at least highly suggesting plays. But I assume he was calling plays. And since Norvell's calling his own plays now, maybe he feels like he doesn't need anybody in the box. But it's something to monitor, man. Whoever they bring in, who's going to be up in the box.
But I mean, do you think
who on the staff would he even trust right now? Which goes to a larger problem to say, hey, tell me what you're seeing up there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that he has anybody on the staff that Tokar's could be that guy, but I guess they think because Norvell, he's not one of those head coaches that calls plays that when the defense is on the field, he's over there talking to the quarterback. I mean, he's at the edge of the sideline watching the game intently. So I feel like he must think that they need Tokar's down on the field communicating with the quarterbacks. But it would be nice to have an eye in the sky that you could trust. That because it's any of y'all that have ever been on the sidelines for a football game, it's chaos. Just looking at the field, you do get such a better view higher up. And I wonder if maybe somebody higher up would see something that Norvell can't see because he's right there at ground level. Who knows?
But I mean, he's going to have. I don't know. Like, if you want to, is there a certain approach you think that he will change to Alex's question there?
I don't know, Alex. Honestly, I don't know. I hope he does because I don't know how you could just keep the same approach, whatever that means to you, whatever that word means to you. I think I would sub scheme in there, but we could say approach. When you have this bad an offense, like historically bad, I would think that you would change everything, or at least be open to change. And I would very much like to see that. I don't like coaches, I guess, are the biggest deal in new players. But, I feel like, again, I'll bring up that what his record is with Jordan Travis and what it isn't. Maybe it's just an offense that only Jordan Travis is the only person on the planet that can run it effectively at this level in the ACC. So he's 0 for 7 with the other quarterbacks that have tried so far.
Lil Bobby and the Juice. Why does Corey keep saying, assuming we got 2 wins, LOL?
Because Charleston Southern lost to Lindenwood. They lost to Lindenwood. I know 90% of the people watching, maybe more, have never heard of Lindenwood. I had never heard of Lindenwood. Charleston Southern lost to them. It's a Division II school, I think, somewhere in this great country of ours.
Missouri, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, all right. They lost to Southeast Missouri State, too. And Missouri's kind of dominating Charleston Southern State. So that's why. They are not – if they were a good, decent FCS team, I would legitimately be worried. And I probably should be anyway, because we've all seen how bad this thing is. I just think Charleston Southern is the worst, literally one of the worst FCS schools in the country. And that's why I think that's an automatic dub. But I've been proven wrong before, so I hope I'm not eating crow in 3 weeks.
Lindenwood is an FCS program, by the way. But yeah,
okay.
So our boys at Charleston Southern have the 110th ranked offense in FCS and the 116th ranked total scoring offense in the FCS. They're averaging 15.3 points per game at the FCS level.
Oh my gosh. But defensively, I don't think it doesn't look like you give up like 50 points a game. I know they lost to somebody 38-0, but I feel like defensively they compete a little bit, which isn't great news for Florida State. You'd like them to be 118th in the country on defense, but yeah, it would be. I feel like the race there is to 20.
Dave is back with invasive questions, but we give him music nonetheless.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Has Corey not been going to practice as much this year? If so, is that the reason for the historic drop-off? Why is no one talking about this?
It's a fair point, Dave, but I will say this. I was going to practice at the same rate as I did last year until I saw how the season was going. The last month I've kind of – right, Aslan?
Yeah.
I was there for most of September and all of August. It tapered off once once the Memphis game, I think, was like, okay, life's too short. But I say that knowing that it's part of my job. So I apologize to all of you. But I went to practice this week, and I'll go to practice again next week. So I'm back on the train.
All right, let's this will move it to the top of the list when you drop a little Andy Jack in the box. Let's go. Eric Gravitt,
Okay.
$20.
Old E-Dog.
Thank you, Eric. Regarding coaching changes, do you all see Norvell reaching out to coaches he has a history with or network with? Brendan Marion, for example, or to ones he has no working history that are highly regarded. Not saying that Marion is not. I am curious about this, Carl. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I think he's going to pull a rabbit out the hat, man. I think he's going to go outside of a small circle. I think he's going to try to get somebody. I don't want to say necessarily big, but I think it's going to catch us by surprise, but pleasantly surprised.
You mean as an OC?
Yeah.
But how could he do that if you think he's still going to be the OC and call plays? Like no OC that's a big name that's worth any salt at all is going to want to come be a OC like just in name.
Maybe O-line coach I should mention then. Yeah, maybe
okay.
O-line coach. Okay.
Yeah, look, man, we talked about this on headlines a little bit. It's something that we really have to hammer home the next month. They have to make this work. They have to pay. You're going to pay money for buyouts, but for assistant coaches, and you're going to have to pay money for players to come here. But you cannot, as you're suing the ACC, trying to get into another conference, and just because you're about to be 2-10 or 3-9 or whatever, or 1-11. Let's not assume that Charleston Southern win. You can't afford this to fail. You can't afford another season like this. So even if you think Mike Norvell is the worst coach in America and he smoked and mirrored his way to 19 straight wins and he got completely lucky and he does not belong at this level, in the interim, before you can afford to fire him, you've got to get this back up to respectability or better. So no cost almost shouldn't be, whatever they do is going to be less than the $64 million they'd have to spend to buy him out, right, Aslan? Like, make it so where he almost can't fail. Give him the players and the resources to where he can't fail. And I assume they thought they did this past year because they brought in a lot of transfers and they were not good. So maybe change up who gets to decide who gets to be on the roster. But the evaluation, whatever. When it comes to coaching, I do think they could go get a big name O-line coach. I do think that is something that is maybe possible. And I do think that I hope that he brings in an OC, like, say, our man from Marion from UNLV, that he knows, that trusts, that can run the offense, and he trusts them to do it. That would be awesome.
Man, we got a lot of good questions. Everything's pouring in here. Shout out to Big Weeze. Lindenwood's 10 minutes from my house in St. Charles, Missouri, he says.
Okay, Lindenwood.
Shout out to Big Weeze. Shout out to Mike Myrick, man, just carrying the flag of hope and optimism, man. Commenting on every video. Mike got us. He says, what's up, fellas, in the chat? Noles, get the dub, get the win. Go Noles. Hashtag Mike got us. Our guy Henry loves the passion from Corey this season. We need it. We're an iconic brand. I should have had this ready.
An iconic brand.
And we got to get back there, whatever it takes. There really is no excuse for this after 13-0 last year.
There's no excuse for this if they had gone 6-6 last year. There is no excuse for what we're watching. But again, what I always push back on, again, not so much Aslan, is just
It's fine. It's fine.
but it isn't. It's the sentiment among many in the fan base that the program is falling apart. And it's like, guys, you're very there. It makes sense because you're a big fan of Florida State football. So you only care about Florida State football. But if you widen the scope and look around the country, you still understand that, and I think you would all admit this, that Florida State is still a very appealing place to go play college football. It's clearly not going great this year, but there are literally thousands of football players in this country, college and high school, tens of thousands probably, that would love to play at Florida State University, that would love it. This isn't UTEP and Rice. It can get back really quickly. Yes, this recruiting class is falling apart. Okay, but it's still Florida State. You're not, imagine being a South Carolina fan. And I know they're having an okay year for them. Imagine the misery that y'all would have felt for the last 30 or 40 years being a South Carolina fan. Like you've still lived a pretty good life, a pretty charmed life as a college football fan. And the point of that is that this program can get back on top and it can be one of the best programs in the country. You just got to hope you hit on some coaches and hit on some players, but it is not impossible. Taking Rice to the playoff is impossible. Getting Tulsa to 13 wins, that's impossible. Getting Florida State back to the ACC championship game ain't that hard.
Amen, brother. What's not hard is having a fun time on your Friday. Just go to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill live happy hour with Corey Clark and Jeff Cameron, shaking hands, meeting you, greeting you as wanted. 5 to 6 o'clock over the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coincides also with their 4 to 7 o'clock happy hour weekdays. Fantastic. Check out the Corey wrap. Maybe just get some wings. I'm a Buffalo guy, medium. Corey, I think we've gone over this. Do you like you're the guy who likes the exotic flavors on your wings, right? Or are you
I'm a mild guy.
Okay.
I'll do garlic parm. They have really good garlic parm. I do garlic parm sometimes. Stephanie's not a big fan of that. But I'll do garlic parm. But mainly I'm just a straight up mild-mannered, mild-winged, bald son of a gun.
Somebody wants us to wear contact lenses, they said, next time we do a show. But
because you can probably maybe see the reflection in my glasses. I will never wear contact lenses. I'm sorry, folks. I'm new to the glasses game. I've only had them for like a couple years, and I would never stick something in my eyeballs. Oh, I can't even. The fact that millions of the people around the world, maybe 1 billion, I don't know, take some round, tiny little thing and dot it on their eyeball is just freaky. I can't believe so many people do that.
By the way, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. My gosh, we have a cavalcade of really good questions and such here. We try to get to all of them as much
Aslan,
as we can.
do you wear contacts?
Occasionally.
Well, wear them if they win.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Wear some contacts if they win.
Thomas McMillan, give him some music, Aslan.
Dollar bills, y'all.
He looks like he's on a boat with a headset on. I wonder if he gives like tours, like swamp tours or something, like over here.
Or maybe like the Chicago architecture tour on the river or something. Does that I can't see that close.
No, this boat
doesn't have the river vibe. Okay.
No, not getting that. Anyhow, Thomas, thank you for the $5. Says, at what point does the overpay we're going to have to pay transfers, which will be evaluated by the same head coach, outweigh the buyout? Why not buy out and move on? Or did I read it wrong?
Thomas, sorry about that. Thomas, it's a fair. I always assume that people are reading it as you're talking. I forget about the podcast listeners, folks. I apologize for that. The stuff in the parenthetical sentence is very, very accurate, and it's a great concern. I completely understand that because yes, it is evaluated by the same head coach. I would say though, like legitimately, Thomas, you're talking about. I think the exact number is 63 million, plus the buyouts of all the coaches. You're talking legitimately in the neighborhood of $75 million to pay 11 people not to coach your football team. I can promise you, even if they overpay for transfers, it's nowhere near that. Like it's not even close to $75 million. So you hope that you spend, I don't know, 15 million, Aslan, who knows what the rate is. And you get him. And also because I guess, Thomas, another point is you don't know. This isn't a way to live life. I get it. But you don't know that you fire the 75 and pay $75 million to someone. Well, then you also got to go hire somebody in their staff. So that's an extra, let's say, $35 million guaranteed. So now it's probably not yearly. Let's say it's 20 years. That's $100 million almost you're spending for Mike Norvell not to be the coach with no guarantee that the guy coming in is going to do anything. And that's the risk. Now, sometimes you got to take risks, but unless, and I'm serious here, unless Nick Saban says, I want to coach Florida State, or Kirby Smart, those are the two. If they said, I want to coach Florida State and I'm ready to take over. I don't even want to go. Kirby's like, I don't even want to coach the bowl game. I'm going to Tallahassee. He was a GA here. It could happen. Saban has ties to Bowden, is from West Virginia like Jimbo. He might love Florida State. Unless one of those two guys do it, I don't think it. I mean, you're talking about $100 million to bring in new people. As opposed to 10 or 15 million to get a roster that can maybe get some guys that score touchdowns. It's a fair point, though, Thomas, because there absolutely is no guarantee that just if you overpay for transfers that they're going to be any good, because it's the same head coach that put this roster together. It's also the same head coach that put together the 19-game winning streak, too. So there is a yin and a yang there, and there is some it's the duality of man. We just don't know which Mike Norvell we're going to get.
Speaking of duality, D. Hobb, so what do we think it is? A, coaches suck, need to be replaced. B, the coaches are good, but the kids we have are not capable of learning. Or C, a little bit of both. I like how he did A, and then he said 2, and then he said D. Come on, D. Hobbs.
That's really funny. If he did that intentionally, that's really funny. That's like something out of Naked Gun.
Yeah. Naked Gun. Love it.
I would not say that. No, when it comes to something like this, when it comes to learning and being able to communicate,
the players, Corey. They have the same coaches last year, and they won a bunch of games. And that's what's changed. It's the players.
But that's not what he's asking. He's asking if the players are not capable of learning. I don't think the players on this roster are not capable of learning. This is not a dumb football team. I think it's the community. The players just aren't as good. And when it comes to the young guys, I would venture to say that some of these coaches don't communicate in a way that induces great learning. I don't know. I don't understand why they make some of the mistakes they make. But I don't think it's because the players are incapable of learning. Incapable. There's a few on every football team on earth that they just can't get right. But most of the guys there are at a place like Florida State because they can comprehend information and they can apply it. That's how they got to where they are. So it's just, I don't think it's being taught and communicated all that well.
Shout out to William Flynn. I wish somebody believed in me like Mike Myrick does in Mike Norvell.
I tell you what, Aslan, if Norvell does turn it around and they go 10-2 next year, and then they're 6-0 in 2026, I feel like you should get Mike Myrick. We should organize a Mike Myrick gets to hang out with Norvell at a practice or something.
Absolutely. We can do that. I can try to get those wheels in motion.
And if Norvell doesn't turn it around, we all get to make fun of Mike Myrick.
Stop it.
Just kidding.
Corey Bates is here, everybody. Twice.
Corey Bates is the man. Good job, Corey. Thank you, buddy.
He did it twice because apparently YouTube is throttling his ability to throw money in the tip jar. He's trying to stay positive and optimistic. Practice observation from yesterday, specifically the quarterback portion, was the best news all year. Mike Norvell will never lose a locker room or ruin the culture. 1-6, the defense played hard. Young DBs, question mark. And that might be a flexing emoji. Yeah, flexing emoji as well, too. Again, I want to get away from, I said this a few weeks ago, but I don't want to give them too much credit for playing hard, right? I mean, everybody's handsomely rewarded on the staff. The least you can do is still get your guys motivated to go play games every single week. But you're 1-7. You were 1-6 last week. It was Miami. I guess, so you should still have some juice for that. Maybe the North Carolina game will prove me wrong on this, but when you're sitting here just starving to death, Corey, and just looking for some crumbs to hang on to, you think about this guy, obviously architect of the 19-game winning streak. Something has to be said about that. I guess the fact that they still are engaged, these guys, they're still getting along as teammates. So there's no circular fire squad going on right now with this team. So that's makes you think that if he just gets the right players, and I shouldn't say right players, if he gets talented, productive players, this thing should work itself out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for Florida State fans too, because this is the third crater they've dealt with in 8 years, man. Like we all saw the end of the Jimbo era, and I think that there was some real toxicity within that program, with that locker room, and just in general around that building. And then Willie, I do think they just stopped playing hard. I don't think they were very good. I don't think they played hard. I don't think he got them ready to play, and I think Willie did have a culture problem. He inherited the culture problem, I should say, and he didn't fix it. This is different because I don't think it's a different collapse. It's just the offense is atrocious, but it's not as if they embarrass you with their lack of effort. They embarrass you because of the record and the way the offense performs. But I thought there were times during Willie's tenure, especially the Miami game, where it just wasn't competitive, really. His last game, where they embarrassed you because they were undisciplined. They embarrassed you because they didn't seem to care that much.
They lined up backwards. Like they literally lined up backwards on a play. You know?
And Jimbo, the toxicity that was there, and there was that was an entitled locker room, I thought. This isn't that. Maybe there's a little more entitlement than normal because they some of these guys joined a Florida State that was in the midst of a 19-game winning streak and thought they were, badasses just because they signed with Florida State. But it's a different kind of collapse. I don't even know what that means. It feels different. But Florida State fans are getting used to this, unfortunately, where there's always these what we think are rock bottom years, and you want to pinpoint it and what's wrong. And I do think those last two times, maybe it was culture-ish, because there was talent on those teams, and there's talent on this team. But the reason, everyone, that they're 1-7 is the offense. Are they not playing hard, or do they just suck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know that you would watch the offense and say they don't play hard. They just aren't any good. And that's not. But the players are all terrible. It's a combination of players, coaches, scheme, all that stuff. But I don't think this is a culture problem. I think this is an offense problem. It's abysmal. All right, I'll stop talking about it.
Our guy Kayvon asked if you were to ask, let's spin this in terms of like off camera, because if we asked any of this on camera, I think we get a completely different answer. But if they were saddled up next to us at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on an April evening over a cold one, and you were to ask Norvell or Atkins why we have not seen any offensive line development in 4 years, what do you think they would each say?
So yeah, on camera they would both probably make the argument that there has been some, and these guys are better than they were in 2020 and 2021, and they'd give some kind of political answers.
I think Mike would be like, we missed. I don't know if Alex would admit that he missed. Maybe Alex is like, man, everyone kept getting hurt, man. Like, you all didn't know this, but so-and-so was hurt. Like, Rob got hurt. That ruined everything. Like, not having
every offensive lineman in the country on Halloween is hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? None of them are feeling 100%. None of them are fresh. It's a horrible, horrible sport when you're an offensive lineman and they go out there and practice every day. So that's something that we've just been hearing about forever. Yeah, they're banged up. Yeah, man, every offensive line is banged up. They're all banged up. You were supposed to have 10 guys this year that you counted on. 9 or 10, right? Right, sure. I don't know. And it's actually a question that I would I almost feel like it's something you could ask her. I would be legitimately curious to what that answer is, what they both think the answer is. And I don't know what they would say, Kayvon. I would think, it could go all the way back to the strength program. Like, they're not getting strong enough. They're not getting stronger. They're not nearly as, they haven't, whatever. They're not appreciably stronger than they were a year ago. I don't know if Atkins would say that or Norvell would say that, or if there's any truth to that at all. Or maybe they just missed, or Norvell thinks Atkins can't develop him because he I don't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or Atkins could say, my guys are blocking up fine. We keep handing the ball to the guy in the backfield 7 yards from the line of scrimmage when he's going sideways or standing still when he gets the ball. So it's hard to hold those blocks. So who knows? It's a great question, and I have no idea what their answers would be. But I know it needs to stop. Not the development. The development needs to actually happen. I mean, the abysmal play of the guys up front.
What's not going to stop, apparently, is
dollar bills, y'all.
is the patronage of Never Lose Your Nerd. $2 in the jar. Could listen to y'all all day. Go Noles. You theoretically could just rewind and listen to it again.
Yeah, just keep going. Keep playing on a loop. Have you ever been told that people listen to us when they go to bed? I think I brought this up before.
Yeah. People brought it up, yeah.
Do you ever listen?
People are like, oh, and they're like, this is my wife. And she's like, yeah, like he listens to it before he goes to bed. It's like, that's interesting.
I like it. Something kind of spicy about that.
This is your, speaking of spicy, this is your big dream, Corey. This gets you all excited. Garrett PCL, with adding the roster size to 105 moving forward, do you think practices can be more physical next year? We looked pretty soft the first few games this season. Can we, the A&M's got the 12th man. Can we get some sort of Corey Clark designation to the player who's never going to get on the field in a game, but shows up to practice every day to get his rear end kicked for the betterment of the team?
No, because he'll be on scholarship. That's the reward, right? The 12th man dude is a walk-on that gets to play on the kickoff coverage team. Or at least he did. Do they still do that? I assume Jimbo
no way, right? Like, can you imagine Norvell? Like, I'm just going to take some schlep and put him on my kickoff unit.
No, I don't think that I don't think Jimbo or maybe they still do. I assume they still do. I wonder when Stephanie went to school there, grad school there, oceanography, by the way. My wife got her oceanography degree at Texas A&M, which if you look on a map, folks, it's not on the ocean. But it's odd, but she did some research in Belize, but that's neither here nor there. But back then, every time Texas A&M would score a touchdown, you kiss the girl next to you. Like just straight up made out. And I don't know that they still do that. I think maybe in 2024 that would be frowned upon. But it was still going strong, turn of the century. And as far as the practices, yes, they absolutely can and will be. I think that's part of the reason that coaches would be fired up about the extra 20 scholarships. And it's not just, hey, man, you're never going to play here. It's more like, hey, we took a flyer on you. It was between Ball State, Kent State, and Florida State. We took you and gave you a scholarship, but know that your role this year is going to be the scout team running back, and we tackle. That's it. We're not going to throw you where you're not getting run over by cement trucks. Where you're not being buried in the sand, but you are going to be a football player that gets hit a good bit. And you rotate it because you can't have the same running back getting worn out 4 practices in a row. So you just wear out. You just use you mix and match the kids that are live that day that you try to tackle. And they're not. I mean, some of these guys, like B.J. Gibson was a scout team guy that was going to score some touchdowns. And I also think, obviously, it helps your team tackling. But I think it also helps the guys that are being tackled, because back in the day, and I told this story, but I think I told it when this thing came up. I'm getting old, folks. But Warwick Dunn, when he came to Florida State, he asked to start as a running back, and if it didn't work out, he would move to DB because he was recruited as both. And back then, they used to tackle during practices. This was 1993, the fall of August of 1993. And he was joining a team that was already number 1 in the country. And he was the 5th string running back. And he was essentially what they thought would be a tackling dummy. They ran toss sweeps to him, and Derek Brooks and guys like that were trying to tackle him. Corey Sawyer, guys like that, Todrick McIntosh, they were trying to tackle him. They couldn't. That's when the coaches realized, oh, this guy's pretty elusive. He's pretty tough to bring down. And then next thing you know, he's making the biggest play in the Orange Bowl to help you win a national championship. So in Florida and Miami, he made huge plays. But so these guys, even if they're down on that depth chart, they can prove themselves pretty quickly if they're hard to tackle. You don't know somebody's hard to tackle until you see him try to get tackled.
Our guy Brett Taylor points out, though, that there will be 105 guys on scholarship, but that's all you're going to have. Like, you're only going to have 105 players available. They probably, I'm sure he's right, they probably do probably close to 130 guys right now when you count all the walk-ons. But at least these guys are getting paid, so you maybe don't feel as guilty about putting their bodies through the rigors of a physical.
The walk-ons aren't getting hit right. Nobody gets hit. Nobody gets tackled right now. So you're going to have 105 scholarship players. Well, how many do you need for a football game? How many play in a football game? 54? 60? Maybe? I mean, that seems like a big number. You probably don't play 60 in a game. You probably play 50 in a game. So that's 50 guys that I'm not saying you can afford to injure, but you can afford for them to have physical practices. And I think that's part of the allure of, instead of having a walk, I mean, maybe the kids that are a walk-on now at Florida State, it'll be the same caliber of kid they're just a scholarship player. But again, part of that scholarship, part of the reward, or not the reward, but the reward is the scholarship. The downside is you're going to have to wear some physical practices. But otherwise, how are these guys ever going to get better at tackling? And it's not a Florida State problem, as I said last week or 2 weeks ago. Kirby was lamenting it at Georgia. Nobody tackles anymore. I think adding 20 extra scholarship guys, some of them redshirting, you're not counting on them. 6-string, 7-string running backs, 4th-string wide receivers, you can afford to tackle and see if they can break some. Do you think I'm wrong on that? I've already talked 5 minutes. Do you think it'll be the same exact practices?
Yeah.
That sucks. All right. You might be right.
I got a lot of questions. I need to get an intern back here to sift through all this stuff. Let's keep them quick and snappy on some of these. Jeremy, our guy down in South Florida, hypothetically, if Mike were to resign after the season, who would you want to replace him?
Me.
Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, that's not a bad one. Lincoln Riley? The offense would be better. He's not going to win a ton. Yeah, they can't. Look, come on. Would Lincoln Riley ever have an offense that averaged 14.9 points per game? Now, he could definitely have a team that was 1-7, but I don't know that he would ever put together an offense that had 14.9 points per game. And he's going to recruit. He should have good quarterbacks because of who he's put in the league. But I honestly, man, I don't. That's just it. Yeah. Who would come here? And I'm not saying it like Florida State's a bad destination. You guys know what I feel about this program. I'm saying look around the country. In what there aren't many schools here. Like when Florida fires Napier, who are they going to get? Like,
Kiffin.
Maybe. That would be crazy, but maybe.
Why? What's crazy about it?
Because he's got the same. He's already at Ole Miss. He's got the what's the difference?
Well, Bloom's kind of coming off the rose. Florida, brand new start, better recruiting base in state.
But I'm saying his roster, he's already proven he can put together, or they will help him get a top 10, top 15 caliber roster.
This one time, though, I don't know if it's in perpetuity, if the money's going to keep recycling. It might have been one of those things where like, hey, man, there's a window for all of us in this life. Let's go ahead and go for it here.
Maybe. So, yeah, but most of the time, if we look around the last 5-10 years, the schools in the ACC, the schools in the SEC, they hire group of 5 coaches. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what group of 5 coach you would think is an absolute guarantee. I know the guy at Memphis right now is 7-1. It beat the current coach at Florida State, but is Memphis any good? Are you going to go back to that well? Like I legit don't know who would even be on the radar. Plus, he's not resigning. Who among us would forfeit $64 million?
I said, let's just make it snappy. Jeremy's a loyal listener. I wanted to get him on the screen real quick. We got Hog Watcher on here too. When is the Storms issue? That is a strength coach going to be discussed. His job has to be on the line as well. Hey, man, Mike keeps saying everything's under evaluation. I wouldn't count that out as. I wouldn't be too surprised. I'd be surprised just because that's a guy that you entrust so much. More so maybe than any singular coach to leave an impact on your team. And Storms have been with him forever, and Storms got everybody's body right last year. So, it's not like, they have a bunch of injuries, but I don't know how much that's really his responsibility. But yeah, listen, everything, when they finish 3-9 or 4-8, best case, everything's going to be on the table. I can't intelligently connect the dot on Josh to this problem, to that problem. Because we haven't heard, Alex Atkins hasn't said anything about we got to, this is we got to make some stuff up in the weight. I don't know even if he really could say that, but guys are missing assignments. MAs aren't because you're not squatting enough. Letting the linebacker come free on an A-gap blitz isn't because you did not push yourself to 100% max on your 1 rep day. Man, that's just, for whatever reason, not being able to identify the proper coverage and who's the mic on the play.
But you're also right. I don't think anybody is untouchable.
No,
and that includes the strength coach. It includes everybody associated with the program when you have a season like this. And I keep going back to Matt Campbell at Iowa State. He had a strength coach that was with him forever. Then he fired him. And in the story before the 2023 or 2024 season, when he was talking about that decision, they went 4-8, and he blew up the offense completely, got rid of every coach, also fired a strength coach. And he goes, in 2022, when we walked onto the field, Our bodies looked like they did when we first got there in 2016 or 2015. We were playing teams where we were overmatched physically, and I said, no more, I'm not doing it. I don't get the impression that when you watch these Florida State games, you think they're overwhelmed physically. But again, no, I don't think anyone, literally anyone, is safe other than Norvell. They all could be. There could be major changes everywhere.
Dude, speaking of changes, new faces. Who's this?
What? Big ball and smashing, making my end.
Pat in the house.
Pat.
I'm going to say Dedicos. Dedicos.
Didikos, I'm going to say.
You think it's going to be Dedicos? Okay.
I sense some Greekness. Just being from the old country, not that country, but the old world. $100 in the jar. Just Pat says, just want you guys to know your show's fantastic. I'm a 73-year-old that has been a Noles since I went to Florida State. Starting, we won't date her to the rest of the audience, but the people that are watching on YouTube can see.
Well, you just
incredible.
read her age.
That's true. I'm sorry, Pat.
You weirdo. You're not gonna say when she went to school, but she's 73. We're not gonna do that math.
Sorry.
So what is that night? So oh my gosh. So Pat, you were there for you talk about horrible years. She was there from 70 to she was there from 69 to 73. So she was there for the winless season. If she started 55 years ago, yeah. She's also there for the end of she might have seen Bill Peterson. But yeah, she was there for a Larry Jones winless season. Yikes.
Pat, let us know in the comment section. Do not put any super chat behind it. Just go ahead and post in here and let us know your favorite memory when you were a student, and maybe what you had to endure that's made you appreciate just how great this program has become. I can't find the words to tell you how very informative and entertaining you are. Go Noles.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat, very much. That means a lot. And we've gotten a lot of nice comments I know you're not posting the negative ones. Please don't. But we've got a lot of people saying nice things about us. So that's always nice. But thank you very much, Pat. That was very, very kind. And yeah, you've lived through this. So you know it can turn around. And it turned around pretty quickly with old Bobby Bowden.
CFB media reviewer. She was there for Larry Jones 0-11. So was I. And she followed up with, that's right. So
hats off to you guys, man. That must have been something. And Larry Jones, his first year, they were good. They were 8-4. A couple of their losses were close, and then it just went completely in the tank.
Our guy Never Lose Your Nerd is back, and he brought Abe with him this time.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Corey, would you wear contacts for a year? A year if it meant Florida State went undefeated and won a national championship in 2025?
Yes, but I would, because that's how much I care about you guys. But I would only do it after they won the national championship because I want to see it. I want to be sure that I'm going to see it. And then in the fourth quarter when they're about to win the game and I'm like, oh, I can't, well, is it on my eyelid? Am I stepping on it? Where is it? I want to wait till after they've won the national championship. Then I promise I would wear contacts for a year. No. I don't want to say that because somehow they might go 13-0, win a national championship next year. And everybody's going to say, oh, you said you wear contacts. It was the premise of the question that I would agree to do it, but I'm not saying that I'll do that now.
They'll have to go 16-0. 13 is not going to get you anything anymore.
They could go 14-2, baby. They don't have to go undefeated.
That's true. Yeah, my brother and I both started wearing contacts in middle school, and dude, we both had huge meltdowns because when you're at the optometrist, they'll show you how to do it. Then you go home and neither of us could. And he did it 1 year. I did it 2 years later. So I was laughing at him when he had his tantrum. And then 2 years later, I brought in contacts. And for whatever reason, every time I would go to put it, it would fold. It's a little, a semicircle, and it would fold over. So it would not attach and latch onto my eye. And I was getting so freaking frustrating. So you're just basically poking yourself in the eye. My eye is bloodshot. Just having an absolute hellacious time doing it. And then
I can't believe so many people do it. There's got to be a better way. I know you just don't want to wear glasses, but yeah, I guess LASIK is the way. I will wear Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goggles for an entire year. I would do that. I would do that for a national championship. I'd do that just for 30 points on Saturday.
Okay. Dave's back. Is this season similar to Mike Martin Jr.'s last season, which was 2022? He was a great hitting coach under his dad, but things started to fall apart, including hitting under his leadership. Okay, I was about to say, where's the parallel? But I guess great offensive guy, Mike Norvell, bad offense this year. Mike Martin, great hitting coach, bad hitting offense. So,
in that regard, maybe. But obviously their head coaching careers are much different. Mike Martin Jr. never had a season like Norvell had last year, not even close. He didn't get a ton of chances, but he didn't. So I don't know. I don't know if I could draw that comparison. But yeah, it's very mysterious why, because Meat's offenses back at the end of his dad's tenure, they weren't exceptional all the time. They struck out a lot. They had some holes in their lineups. They didn't produce a ton of Major League Baseball talent during those final few years. Now you can say a lot of that was they were recruiting shorthanded because his dad didn't recruit that much anymore, and he was kind of all left to him. But yeah, that he never had a season like Norvell had last year as a head coach. I mean,
and the things we didn't get to see Meat up close as we get to see Norvell. I'd go to a few series here and there, but I don't even really go to every. I'd go to like the Friday game and maybe come cover Sunday. I was not at practice, and I don't know, maybe that would have been like the canary in the coal mine if we were able to see what happened with Meat. But it was just the most surprising thing, and maybe it shouldn't be surprising, was obviously with these struggles, is just to see how much Mike is wearing it now, man. Just to hear his voice, see the way he looks in these post practice interviews, his body language on the field. You feel like, he was always so stoked. He was always so dialed in, laser focused, intense, passionate, but like we see it so much in practice, man, where he's just talking to himself, like, how did you miss that? And these are the things that, I would do as a guy with a bad attitude that's not a team player. And like, these are things that are totally
antithetical.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah.
To like everything he preaches and what he's been his whole career, seemingly, man. So that's been the crazy thing of this. And I know everybody wants they want the pound of flesh. They want people to be miserable because this is the thing they're most passionate about and they're not happy. Man, he's wearing it. And I'm not saying feel bad for the guy, but I'm surprised to see it so, I don't know, clear to everybody. Like during, I mean, he can do it at practice because it's just a few of us, but like when he's on the sideline, just to see the way he's been comporting himself on the sideline the last 2 games, like I never thought in a million years we would see him looking like that, acting like that.
He wears it though, man. It's at least he's not looking stoic, and it doesn't matter to him, and he's not screaming at kids and smacking helmets or anything. So that's just how he wears it, man.
Yeah. Somebody was asking, I think we had a recruiting question in here.
Not
Adam
going
Moore.
Well. If the question was, is it going well? The answer is no.
Why, after 2 successful seasons, can we not get elite? Well, this was a question to ask maybe December of last year, but we had other things on our minds. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Why, after 2 successful seasons, can we not get elite kids to come to Florida State? I understand the first 2 seasons of Norvell's tenure, but come on, this is pathetic. And I feel bad, man. I don't feel bad for saying that I thought the team was going to be good this year, and then they weren't. And I know a lot of people were upset at us. But, when I was doing recruiting chats, a lot of it just seemed plausible to me, Corey. It seemed reasonable to me that Florida State's not going to have a good signing class in 2022 because they didn't look great in 21. They didn't have a great signing class in 21 because they didn't look great in 20. You need to see a product. You need to see proof of concept, whatever you want to brand it as. But, man, when you end up winning your state title the way they did in 2022, winning those last 6 games or whatever it was, the way they beat Miami, the way they looked against beating Florida wasn't as dominating as it was against Miami, but it was exciting. It was electric. It was, I want to be that guy making those plays in that game, in that stadium for these fans. And they really didn't get a lot of traction behind that. And then you go to 23 and you're like, my gosh, like they're atop this conference from, pretty much the jump, wire to wire. They're undefeated. They win the conference. They're fighting back. They're defying the odds. Come here. We're sending guys to the NFL. And like, it still didn't take. So it's at what point, what more do you need to show high school kids? And
what do we think the issue is. Like, we know that Norvell is a personable enough guy. We know that he has put players in the league and he's produced I don't know. I don't know why Jeremiah Smith would absolutely go to Ohio State and not
That
Florida
example.
State.
I mean,
It's not a great example, but it's like you are allowed to get one of those guys. You are, and you had a better season than Ohio State did last year, and he's from your home state. But yes, bad example. Go to any of the.
When you think about it, like they really wanted Reuben Bain. He's really good, but he's from Miami. That makes sense. They really wanted KJ Bolden. Man, he picked Kirby Smart over you. I mean, it's Kirby Smart's defense. I mean, there's a lot of these high-profile guys, other than Travis Hunter. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. My only theory, Core, is I do think, and I applauded it when he told us this, like in 2020 when he took the job, that like he tells players, like, listen, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to push you every single day. And I'm sure Kirby gives them some kind of flavor of that. I'm sure Saban gave them some sort of flavor of that. But man, they had rings behind it. Like Norvell's asking you to kind of take a chance on him to a certain degree. And I don't know how many players feel comfortable doing that.
But it didn't seem like a chance. Theoretically, he was talking to the kids. I'm talking about the 2024 class. So the class that included LaWayne McCoy, Elijah Moore, and other guys they didn't get. He was talking to those kids for 2 years. He had told them, like, just watch what we're doing. We're building something special. And legitimately, from the time they were sophomores in high school to seniors, they went from a losing record to 13-0. And it's Florida State. There's a lot of history to tradition. It's a great fan base. There's a ton of media coverage. There's a ton of national people watching you all the time. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know. And I've said this before, I don't even know what makes a good recruiter anymore. And I'm being completely honest there. I just don't. Because money is a factor. But I know they're not uncompetitive with the money they offer high school recruits. So what is it? Like,
I'm projecting because I'm not in those living rooms, but I think just Mike is very intense, and it might be too intense for some people.
But is it the position?
But I think Kirby can dial it down and kind of, joke around with you. And he's got the hubris and he's got the resume to back up. Like when Mike Norvell comes into your living room, I think he's like staring down, like the way he looked at you when you asked him that question. That's how passionate he is about his approach and what he's building. And I know it motivates like 40-year-old men watching it, but like maybe a 17-year-old kid's like, I get it, man. But
But it worked on Azarie. It worked on Elijah Moore and LaWayne McCoy. Like it works on people. I mean,
that's not going to work on everybody.
Lucas Simmons, but yeah, I mean, nobody works on everybody. Kirby couldn't get Travis Hunter either. So I guess I don't know what the theory is. Like, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, he didn't do enough with those last 2 good years in the recruiting ranks. Like you look at this roster now, it is not full of future NFL guys, the younger guys. There are a few hands splashed in there, but not a ton. It wasn't an elite class. I don't know. I don't know if it's position coaches not having a great history of success. You brought a DC from Marshall, Memphis, but also coached at Marshall. Alex Atkins coached at Charlotte and then Tulane. Like you don't have, maybe because you're recruiting against SEC schools, and I think that has something to do with it too, Aslan. Being in the ACC doesn't help. But when and not because Florida State is dominating the ACC this year, everyone. But
Mario's recruiting pretty good in high school, man. Dabo's recruiting pretty well in high school.
I wonder. Yes, yeah, those two guys are. And Dabo.
Florida State, though, man, that's the thing. We're Florida State. You should be up there with them. I'm not taking the backseat to Clemson or Miami in anything, man.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But so that's what I don't understand. I think Miami and Clemson have guys that have proven maybe longer track records as position coaches. I don't know. I literally don't know. I know that if I was the coach, if I was the dad of an offensive lineman that I thought could be an NFL player, I wouldn't send him to Florida State. Who was the last offensive lineman drafted here? If I was the dad of a wide receiver, I wouldn't send him to Florida State. Who was the last?
Don't say that, Corp. He'll get mad when you do that.
No,
stuff.
I'm saying these are the things that must be the reasons. Like not many of the guys currently on this staff have produced a lot of NFL players that they recruited out of high school. Yeah. Maybe Dugan's did back somewhere else, but not at Florida State. He hasn't. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the position coach's lack of success with the NFL. It's clearly not success on the field because you can't do better than 13-0. And that still wasn't enough to entice a top 5 class. So I don't know why. And yes, this class currently right now is pathetic, but I think we'll never know. It's an unanswerable question. If they were 7-1 right now instead of 1-7, what would this class look like? I think you hold on to most of these guys, but you didn't, so you don't. You don't have that record, so you didn't hold on to them.
All right. We made it. It's been an hour. We appreciate you all for being here. It's seriously, it's awesome. Hit the thumbs up if you could on your way out. That'd be even a better way to wind up our day here. We're going to have a mailbag show for you folks tomorrow. So if you're a subscriber to warchant.com, get over to the Tribal Council, post your
Let me
questions.
clarify. If I did have if Brady was a wide receiver recruit, I would absolutely send him to Florida State. Little slot possession guy, especially because he's never played football. So I'd be like, well, this is going to be fun. Brady, you're going to be one of those extra scholarship kids. You're going to wear it during scout team. I
think Brady could be like a Steve Smith type guy. I think he'd play out wide. I think he'd play out there on the boundary between the numbers and the sideline.
No doubt. He's got that Clark athleticism. I'd also like to apologize. I feel like the reflection in my glasses, that's why I keep doing this, to get the reflection to go away. It seems like that's got to be really distracting, folks.
Why is it so blue though?
I don't know. It's a white screen. Yeah. So I don't know why it's so blue. So next week I'll wear sunglasses. Well, that won't. They'll be reflective. I'll wear aviators. Okay. I got to do something. But yeah, this is better. I'll just do this the whole time.
All righty, we're done. Again, get into the mailbag thread. If you're a member of warchant.com, you can win some Cummins swag, dare I say. You can win a portable generator, portable power station with our grand prize drawing, which I don't know if we're going to do that at the end of the – we were supposed to do that before, like, the playoff game, and we're not even going to be in a bowl game, but I digress. Thanks you all for being here at the Thumbs Up. Thank you to Dave and Bart Sound. Thanks to Eric Gravitt, Corey Bates, Thomas McMillan, Never Lose Your Nerd, and Pat. That's awesome. This made my week. Might have made my month. Appreciate
Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much.
Trevor with a P. Missed the whole show. You can scrub back. You can rewind. You can watch it all from the top. That's how it goes. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Warchant Report, Coach Speak, pregame shows, postgame shows, meet and greets. It's all happening this week. Let's have fun out there, everybody. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching, listening to Wake Up Warchant Live, presented by Vitamin Energy.